I'm Brodor, and this is a Why We Game special editorial bonus preview report edition. Last week, I alluded to the fact that this week I would be talking about Patreon and a Patreon commitment that I would be asking of you, the listener and viewer. And we're going to get to that, but this video is going to be akin to Kubrick's classic Full Metal Jacket, two thematically related films that are smushed together for your viewing enjoyment. Not long ago, I released a video on Facebook talking about Ernie Gygax and his exile from the gaming industry. Recently, I was having an off-the-record conversation with someone who works in the industry, and they made me consider a perspective that I had not up to that point. I wasn't following the money. The number of people who were willing to boycott Gen Con over Ernie Gygax is so small that it went without notice. However, the number of people who would vocally, actively threaten to cancel their tickets and attendance to Gen Con if Ernie were allowed inside the building is big enough to make buttholes pucker. But if there was someone who was huge like that, if there was a Joe Rogan of RPGs, if there was a Dave Chappelle of tabletop, a person who truly was unexilable, what would that look like? I can't imagine. Allow me to illustrate my point that it is truly about money and not about what is colloquially called virtue signaling. Recently, Gen Con announced that they were going to be adding pronouns to badges. You know, he, him, she, her, they, them, etc. The reason that they're doing that is strictly financial. I had the luxury of going to several conventions last year, both large and small, and I can tell you the number of unused pronoun ribbons, you know, those adhesive little ribbons that go on the bottom of your badge that say, you know, gamer or, you know, Looney Labs or what have you. Well, a lot of pronoun ribbons went unused. Now, Gen Con wants to be accommodating, and rightfully so, but also they don't want to waste money. Now, I looked at a lot of badges. I looked for people who specifically went out of their way to take those ribbons and put them on their badges. And they were out there, but the number of badges that went unused was a lot of goddamn money. That's all I'm saying. And so this way, Gen Con gets the best of both worlds. They get to be accommodating for the people who deserve accommodation, and they get to save some money. Speaking of money, I would like to ask for yours. Now, for those viewers, listeners that are out there who've been with me since the beginning over this last couple of years of pandemic, I really, really appreciate you sticking with me. I do. It means the world. Just knowing that you're out there, I really, really appreciate it. But I need to take this more seriously, as I said last week. And in order to do so, I'm going to commit to a regular release schedule to the best of my ability. So next Tuesday, I am going to release my Rico Corazon interview. Well, Rico and I talk for about an hour about special education and role-playing games and how role-playing games really are helpful to kids, particularly the neurodivergent. Also on Tuesday, I will release my Patreon, and I'll get to the levels or tiers for that Patreon in just a second. Additionally, for free for the first time starting next Thursday, I'm going to do some brief product reviews. Now, my first one is going to be about John Harper's Blades in the Dark, because I owe John an apology. Recently on a Fear the Boot episode, I shit all over Recently on an episode of the Fear the Boot actual play, I crapped all over this game, and undeservedly so. I did it really out of ignorance. And so I want to apologize to John, but also I want to get into the game and what I think is good about it and really why I struggled with it. And I took a crazy journey to try to wrap my head around this thing. Then, of course, also for free on Friday, I will release an editorial report. And that editorial report is going to be about the WotC party versus Tzur and how it's absolutely idiotic to think that there is a conspiracy to destroy Ernie Gygax and any threat that he may bear against the titan that is Dungeons & Dragons and Hasbro. That's the free stuff, right? So let's talk about what you get for your money. At the $1 tier, you get gratitude. You get voting rights in any poll that I might take related to Why We Game or any sort of the productions that I'm doing here with Why We Game. Additionally, you'll get priority privilege. So in conversation about, hey, Brodor, you should cover this or you should review that, etc. If you are a patron, obviously I'm going to give more weight. So everyone has the privilege to participate in the conversation, but at the $1 level, you have priority privilege. Now at the $3 level, you get everything mentioned above, including the occasional, what's that say there? Including the occasional blooper. But also, well, I mean, everybody's going to get better editing after this piece of garbage. But in addition, you will have elite priority privilege. So you have the privileged, the priority privileged, and the elite priority privilege. But also, you will get 2 additional portions of gratitude for three gratitudes. So at $1, 1 gratitude and priority privilege, which is great. At $3, you get 3 gratitudes and elite priority privilege. Now lastly, at the $5 level, you get everything mentioned above. You get ultra elite priority privilege and 7 units of gratitude. That's right. The best value is at $5, getting you 7 full units of gratitude. Finally, on Wednesdays, you will receive exclusively at the $5 level my game mastering videos where I talk about my process and my game that I'm currently in. And just a little bit of a teaser, what I will do is talk about the first one, which will drop next week. We're going to talk about Savage Worlds and my upcoming Call of Cthulhu game, why I chose Savage Worlds, what I'm doing it to feel more akin to traditional Call of Cthulhu, and lastly, hopefully deflect some hate mail about how it's anathema and I'm some sort of apostate. So, all of that starting Tuesday next week. And again, to everybody who's been with me this whole time, I really, really appreciate it. For those of you who found me recently, welcome aboard. And if you do me a solid, man, please tell your friends.